Today, we're going to dive into the macro first to show you with the chart behind me. We'll zoom in where we are in the cycle and why it's a little premature to be saying things like, I am confident we're never going to go under 20K again. I saw that tweet when I woke up. So I need to cover that. In the second half of the video, I'm going to cover the midterm timeframes to give you the exact level that the bears have to defend, the bulls have to defend, a midpoint, and then one EMA that you can take a look at to help judge what's going on in between the bears and the bulls defending the lines that they need to cover. Are you ready? Let's get it. This chart behind me goes back to 2013, as you can see here. This is called an EMA fill. I have on the daily 70 and the daily 21. Essentially, it's the daily 21 going above the weekly 10 EMA. Okay, so the daily 70 is roughly the weekly 10 EMA. As you can see here, when the daily 21 EMA goes above, so that is the yellow line, daily 21. When it goes above the blue line, this flips green. And this is back in 2013, as we can see labeled here. All right, it goes above, but you can get confident about bull market status, not just when it's above, but when it comes above and bounces. All right, and bounces. So you can see here, it went above, but it did not bounce. The next time you get a bounce, and that is an indication of bull market territory. Back in so this is back in 2018. Let me drag that, or 2017, 2018 here. Take a look. Daily 21 couldn't get above, did get above, couldn't bounce, did get above, couldn't bounce, right? And let's just keep taking a look. You had a massive rally in price over here. I mean, just massive. And the daily 21 could not get above, and price went down to make lower lows here. I want price off and the EMA fill on. All right. And the rally before coronavirus dump in March, April 2020, you had a massive run, actually. It's just insane. But did this yellow line bounce on that blue line? No, it didn't. It didn't bounce. You have to get the bounce. What happened thereafter? Look. Bounce. Okay, bull market initiated. All right. The Wyckoff, which was a orchestrated event in Bitcoin land as the stock market was rallying to all-time highs. Outside of that, it jumped up and it bounced. It bounced and got an all-time high at 69K, right? Okay, so take a look now. What is happening? Remember the December, this was the April pump fake when you had a very, very large, bear flag formation, bearish channel, right? So on the EMA side of things, yes, it was the yellow line got above blue and this area here flipped green. But what happened as the daily 21 came back to meet the weekly 10? It didn't bounce. All right. So let's go down to current price. What are we? Where are we? It hasn't even crossed. Like there's a lot of work to do. It hasn't even crossed. And when it does cross, the daily 21 needs to go back to the weekly 10 at some point. Yeah, you could get a pretty big rally before that happens. But look, what is all this talk about bottoms in and stuff? Like, don't be getting confident the bottom's in. I just showed you the whole history of these just two lines. It's still red. It's not even crossed. And if it does cross, there's a solid chance that it goes right back down to make new lows. I just showed you with two lines why that statement or that thought process is really, I'm not going to call it silly or stupid or, be mean or anything, but it's premature and it's really, it's unfounded. It's not based in facts, right? It's kind of silly. We're still red. It's red. So it's still crossed bad. That's it. All right, now let's move into the midterm time frame so we can stay comfortable with September. Let's get it. As we're doing that, just make sure that you know that the links to the Discord and visual instructions on how to join are in the description section of all my videos. Follow me on Twitter, Cosasverdes with the number 2. I post some bomb charts up there, and there is a 90-second comical video with pirates and crazy stuff that show you what the YouTube tiers are about and how it's different from Discord and what you get. All right, so let's jump into the midterm time frame. So I'm going to go to the 1 hour chart here. I'm going to take off that EMA fill and I'm going to put price back on so we can see what the hell we're doing. Here we go. I have this all set up nice and pretty for you. Check it out. This here is the line that the bears need to defend. Or no, the bulls, so sorry. The bulls need to defend. So essentially, if price goes back below, and I'm going to tell you why this is important. If this horizontal is broken, especially the bottom point, all right, roughly at 19,600. If this bottom line, and this is the 1 hour chart, this is going back to June 19th here at the $17,500 low. Okay, so we're seeing a snapshot of the last couple months here, last few months. Where this comes into play is the monthly chart. Let me take this back off and show you why this is so important. I'm going to go to the monthly. I'm going to zoom in. Here we go. It is essentially made by this. See this wick down? It's a little under 19.6, so I need to make this a wee bit lower, that wick. If price goes below the wick down of August, okay, which is coming in at roughly 19.5, call it 19.550, somewhere around there, then price is going to accelerate down. And showing you that one simple line that's that important and why it's that important, this is when returning viewers should give me a quick thumbs up. And new viewers, if you like my pretty charts and how I lay them out so far, go ahead and hit subscribe and hit the bell for all alerts so I can keep you in the know on different time frames within Bitcoin. I focus on things varying from short-term price action during the week to long-term and mid-term on the weekend. So let's jump back into this. And so that's the importance of this line. If 19,550 is broken, it's going to accelerate big time. All right, let's go back to the 1 hour chart so we can see from the $17,500 lows to current price here. Stretch this sideways here, right here. All right, so that is the line that the bulls need to defend. Very simply put. Now, and you probably want this on your chart. That's why I'm showing you. All right, this is the line that the bears need to defend. And I'm going to layer on a couple of other things with just solid EMAs on here. But just from a horizontal standpoint, if you're not an EMA person, these are the two field goals. Or like, you know, in soccer, these are the goals, right? If you can get above here, if price gets above here, this is like the bulls kicking a goal. If price goes below the other horizontal that I showed you right here, that means the bears kick a goal. Go, and they're going to run around taking off the shirts, doing backflips and stuff, right? That's what's going to happen because they're going to get some continuation to that side. So put these horizontals. I have them nice and clearly labeled. Seriously, put these on your chart. This is going to help guide you through the next month and a half. Simply put. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to finesse this. Since this is a fairly big area, all right, what is happening when, like how do you finesse things if price is in here? Like, what does it mean? Does it automatically mean that the bulls are winning? No, it could get trapped in here and that could be the top, right? So how do you start knowing, ooh, things are getting weird? Or if things come down here, you know, if you find support on something, well, how do you finesse it down here? So I'm going to focus mostly with the finesse and how to interpret what's happening up in this box because the momentum is up right now. And this line down here is fairly definitive. You mostly just need the horizontal and not so much EMAs because prices will be under most of the EMAs at this point and it'll accelerate down. So let me show you how to finesse somewhere in the middle, all right? And I'm going to give you the coordinates of this blue line. This blue line's pretty important. And then I'll show you the two EMAs that you need to use to finesse things from between here to here. But if you get over this, then it's just, things are going to start racing up, okay? So I'm going to show you the finesse, the nice stuff. All right, extra layer tools. Okay. So the coordinates, let me take these guys off. The coordinates of this origin line, if you want it almost exactly how I have it, and again, you could stretch this back 12 years if you want, even though we're so far down on the origin line list that, you know, this this line doesn't interact with price very far in the past because this is the first time this origin line's ever been hit this low. But back on June 18th, okay, at the $17,500 lows, price did not hit an origin line. It's one of the few times a large moves down didn't, but it came to use it up as resistance, okay? So it did use the next origin line up. But it's so I unfortunately can't just tell you put it on the wick. It did not hit the origin line. So on that date though, that Bitcoin went down to 17.5. The coordinate for on June 18th for the origin line is right here. Okay, I'm not gonna read it to you. But on August 30th, you do have a wick down on the hourly chart, and again, I'm on the hourly chart. It's the second wick down, 1, 2 on August 30th, about 19,580. All right, and I have it labeled. And if you just put a line through there and extend it both ways, especially this way into the future, this is the line that's going to help guide you in the meantime. If price is, somewhere between not quite touching the bottom horizontal and it's using it as support, or no, wrong way, using it as support, it's going to give you extra guidance. I really recommend you use those coordinates. So just pause the video, go back, put that line on your chart. It's going to help. It has a strong potential of helping you drastically. All right, now let me layer on 2 more things, and then we're going to finesse this bitch, okay? 2 more things. All right, so far we have 2 horizontals, super easy. Draw a freaking rectangle with those coordinates. And then the ascending line that I have. And now let's do this. Let me take this off. Coordinates. I'm going to put on the, back on the horizontals, all right? Now, what you also want is the weekly 10 EMA, right? I let my JZW. You can use this indicator right here, since a lot of people are having trouble finding this MTF EMA to do the weekly 10 or just other large EMAs on small time frames like the 1 hour. Try this one. JZW should have access to that for a free Tradingview. I think MTF EMA is only available for paid versions. So JZW, it looks like this, and you want to star it once you find it within the indicators list. Okay, so JZW, there you go. Star it before you click it. All right, then set up your weekly 10. So I'm going to throw on the weekly 10 EMA. Is price above it or below it? It's below it. And how important is the weekly 10 EMA? So new viewers, you might not know, but this is where, if you haven't hit thumbs up yet, you hit thumbs up, because this is this is the most important indicator. I mean, this is among the most important, if not the most important just one single indicator to get a general direction of mid and macro price. It's below it. And if it gets above, it's got a strong chance of breaking back below it until it's above it and uses it as support. Just like back here. Did it use it as support? No. Did it get above it? Yes. What happened afterward? You made new local lows right here, right next to my ear. See this one? New local lows. Couldn't use it as support. All right. So that's what we're toying with right now. And it just so happens that the top of this horizontal that I gave you that the bears need to defend, they have an extra player. They have a strong defender here. So this line is independent of this weekly 10 EMA. See this red line? This horizontal is here independently from just price action. And you have a second strong defender. So it's going to be real tough for the bulls to not only get above 22,400, but to get above and use it as support. So maybe the bears will take a break and allow the bulls to do it. But once the bulls take a nap because they just sprinted to get above and they did a lot of work, the bears probably don't have to do much work to get it back below, because the bulls are going to be freaking tired after that. I'm telling you, that's how it works. It's literally like a fight or a sprint or something like that. You take turns sprinting, almost like a relay race or whatever. If it gets above, I mean, just realize it's got a strong chance to go back below, to not stay above it on its first pass, because the bulls will have been very exhausted just to get price back above. As the bears are sitting back, just seeing what the bulls can do. Okay, yeah, you got above. All right, you tired? All right, we're gonna step back in. Let's get some work done. And that's what'll happen. So I can't tell right now if price is going to get above. But what I can tell you is that if it does get above, you need to eyeball that level or the weekly 10 EMA at wherever it is at that time, because it's going to be difficult for the bulls not only to get price above, but to maintain it above once the bears start, doing their sprint. It's going to be very, very tough. All right. Now, so that is essentially the bullish side of things. What to look on the bullish side of things. On the other side, when the bears are starting to win, is the daily 21 EMA. All right, your daily 21 using an indicator might not look as smooth as mine. So I have on the 504 EMA. So I just Multiply 21 times 24, right, for 504. So this is the daily 21 EMA used by the 1 hour 504 EMA. Now, if price is above this line in general, that means the bulls are roughly winning. So that means price can have a fairly aggressive pullback in the meantime. So let's pull this down. I mean, 3% is not huge, but it'll look, I mean, altcoins will lose like 10% potentially, right? Up to 10%, but it would be a perfectly healthy pullback. So keep that in mind. Don't start getting super bearish if you see a strong pullback on Bitcoin that looks sharp, because if it touches this line, it's still, the bulls are totally in control. So this is where the finesse comes in. As I slam my hand on my microphone, as I say finesse, the irony, right? And if you haven't hit thumbs up, new viewers, this is time to do it, because I'm really getting like the delicacy within price here. And I promise you, these simple tools that I'm layering on one at a time are going to help you so much during this whole month. When Twitter is going, and they just draw like a pizza wedge or something and with an arrow, like, no, like let's finesse this. All right, let's stay in control of what's happening in the charts. But there's a lot of wiggle room between. You could get your ass kicked between these levels. Look, like you can lose thousands and thousands of dollars just between these finesse points that I'm showing you, right? So even though I'm saying that this is finesse stuff, you could still get your butt kicked if you don't know what you're doing with risk management and you're trying to play these charts. That's 8% between my finesse points. It's a lot of wiggle room, okay? So you have to be careful. So if you don't have risk management, you're gonna never be in control, no matter how much crap you layer on your chart. But I still have a decent amount of stuff layered on here, but it's very, very simple. 2 EMAs, 2 horizontals, and one trend line. And that's it right now, okay? So let's call it this. If price is above the daily 21 at any point in time, then the bulls are relatively in control. If price goes below the daily 21, all right, but it's above the origin line, then you're in a neutral zone. Okay, you're in the twilight zone essentially, right? So in this area here for now, even though this yellow line will start creating a more aggressive slope, it'll probably make it more of a triangle, is what it's probably going to do. It'll look like something like this. That's probably what's going to happen. So that's your neutral zone, all right? And you can see how, let me zoom out. Zoomy. All right, there we go. That's your neutral zone. If price goes below the origin line, for which I've already given you coordinates, then the bears are in control. All right? If price goes below the top of this horizontal, right at $20,000, then the bears, or then the bulls have to kick in, or you're getting ready to start. This is where you start getting like potential for acceleration down. Because remember, this is that monthly cliff where all the candle bodies were. So this bottom one is the wick from August. This is where the candle bodies were. This is where price could accelerate. It doesn't have to accelerate from this line. So what this means is the bears are already in control if it goes back under this line. This is a macro line, okay? It's more important than some trend line that most people are drawing. This is an origin line. Back to the origin of price 13 years ago on Bitcoin. Bears are in control if price goes under here, period. All right? But if it's above it, then, and it's below this yellow line over here, then you're in the neutral zone, all right? But this line here is when you have the risk of any moment in time where you could have the next leg down capitulation. If price gets below the next line here, or the bottom of this horizontal, that means a strong increased chance of any second that you could have an extremely strong leg down. Like, I mean, essentially the bears are in full control. Even if price made like some type of little bounce, it's probably getting ready to accelerate. This line, you don't want price to go back under if you're bullish on, spot trade or altcoins. All right, it's almost like sealing the deal. It's signed, sealed, and almost it's being delivered. In the process is being delivered is what this line is. All right, and so at any point, and above the weekly 10, yes, clearly the bulls are in control, but just realize I'm having a slight bearish bias here because the bulls are going to have to do so much work to get above that I would not say, hey, it's off to the races, similar to it's off to the races for the bears. If price, I'm not going to place the same momentum factor on there. The bears will have much easier chance pulling price down if it goes below here than the bulls will if price gets above this red line and this horizontal right here, because they're going to be exhausted at that time. Are the bears going to be exhausted once they drive price down here? No, because they're going, zoom out. Like, look, they're rolling a ball down a hill. They're not going to be exhausted. It's going to be much easier for them to move it. Does that make sense? There was some Greek mythology. There was, I can't remember his name, but a guy was punished for eternity rolling a ball up a mountain or something. And that's what the bulls are doing right now. So I'm not going to have a strong bullish bias the exact moment that price gets above here. Rather, I'm going to be interested to see if price can maintain once it retraces. I will be hesitant, or I will actually doubt. Like, I think it would be slightly less than 50-50 chance that's able to hold that line. But if it can hold this line, so here is where acceleration, I could see acceleration. So the bulls, this is your part, okay? This is where, I mean, stuff can really, really start ripping. And it's very simple, okay? It's very simple. Let me show you. For the month of September and October, if 22.4 and the weekly 10, so it's going to be one of those, maybe simultaneously, it just depends. But if price can, so I think price is going to probably do this, then go boom. All right. But if it can get above here, so at the moment, so take a look at the moment, let me zoom way in. I'm on the 1 hour chart. Should I go to a lower? Let me go to a lower chart. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, let's do this. This looks better. Let me zoom way in there. All right. So if price can get above, let me do it like this. There we go. All right, so this is our horizontal. This is the weekly 10. Got it? When or if price gets above that weekly 10, and let's say this line simultaneously, it's going to form a local high. Okay? Boom, 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 boom. And then it retraces. So when it comes back down for just a normal retrace, this point up here, right here, at the very top, that's the local high. All right. The moment where, so that's not where you're going to get continuation. Like, you need to retest this weekly 10. All right. There are very few ways you don't retest it. And one of those ways is riding sideways for several weeks and just going back and forth. And the weekly candles are just closing above and right at this for weeks. Okay. So that's one way it doesn't, that what I'm saying won't play out. And that's possible. That I guess I'll do that next. But in the short-term time frame, if things are going to accelerate and keep accelerating without spending weeks there, then here's what you're looking for. So when it gets above, concentrate on that local high. Just realize it will extremely likely come back down to retest this horizontal right here and or the weekly 10 that might be a little lower. So at that point, this red line might be about here. So it'll come back to retest one or both of these. Does that make sense? After making a local high. But concentrate on that local high and realize it's going to come back down to retest. The point that the bears will probably stop, trying so hard, thus giving bulls a lot more leeway, and it'll be easier for the bulls to move price, is when you break that local high. So you made a local high getting above, you come down, retest the weekly 10, boom, 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 boom. Once you get above that local high, bam. Then at that point, having a pretty good bias for momentum to the upside, continuation to the upside, that's when you get it. But it's more work for the bulls to get that. I am telling you. If it gets above that line, it has a strong chance of breaking the ice as it comes back down to try to land on it to prove it as support. It's got a strong chance of breaking that ice. Just like I showed you at the beginning of the video. A very, very strong chance. Click this video right here if you want to see a playlist of some of the most important Bitcoin and crypto videos I've ever made from the past, and click this video right here if you're newer to playing with futures and you want some trading advice that you won't find anywhere else. It's a quick 5-minute video, could save you a ton of money. You just got Timothy worldwide. Peace.